Want to take you right now to the Values Summit going on in Washington, D.C. I think that's former Education Secretary Bill Bennett addressing the group. Indeed it is. For Ronald Reagan, he was in that capacity. Big conservative icon. Mike Pence is going to be addressing the group a little later on. Today, Tony Perkins of the Family Research Council was Vice President with Vice President Pence. He'll introduce him. Also knows a thing or two about how all of this is going down in Washington, these cross currents over a potential Supreme Court justice under fire, and so much more happening concurrently. Tony, very good to have you.
Good morning, Neil. How are you?
Very good. How is all of this going down there? I mean, the reaction you're getting from members and those attendees who are concerned maybe that Judge Kavanaugh might not make it to the Supreme Court. What do you think?
I don't think there's concern that he won't make it. I think there's enthusiasm moving forward. And it's interesting, every time we have these summits, there's something happening here in Washington that has significant implications. And of course, this is at the pinnacle of issues of concerns when it comes to values voters, evangelicals. In fact, it was one of the motivating issues for evangelicals to support Donald Trump in the 2016 presidential election. So I think there's resolve here, which was really solidified yesterday by Mitch McConnell when he said that Brett Kavanaugh will be on the court. So there's a lot of enthusiasm in the room. It's certainly not reflective of what the media would say is happening around the country in terms of the lack of enthusiasm of conservative voters. There's a lot of energy in this room today.
Do you believe, Tony, these stories in the New York Times that Rosenstein was seriously considering invoking the 25th Amendment to get rid of the president, which would obviously mean the ascension of Mike Pence to the presidency? What do you make of it all?
I wouldn't be surprised. The opposition to this president, as he has moved forward consistently with the promises that he made as a candidate, has drawn opposition from every quarter. So we've seen the Department of Justice has been problematic. I would not be surprised, given what I have seen in the FBI and the Department of Justice, which has been very disturbing as a former law enforcement officer. And I think there's a lot of credibility that has to be reestablished in that bureau.
You know, Tony, the president talked last night at a campaign event that there's a great stench still at the Justice Department, that a lot of nefarious figures have been removed, but there's still a stench. So I don't know whether he was directly referring to Rod Rosenstein, but if he moved, that is the president, to fire him now, would that be a mistake?
Well, I think there's going to be a little more evidence here. Was he serious? Was he joking? I think more has to be established before the president would act. I think the president has to be focused on what he is doing. I mean, the economy is going well, 49-year low in terms of the joblessness rate. Look, the president needs to stay focused on pushing his agenda forward and not get distracted. If the evidence comes out, I would let Congress deal with it and then take action.
You know, it comes in an environment, only obviously the Bob Woodward book and this presidency under siege and underlings who remove memos and executive orders for fear the president's going to do something he might and the country might regret. How do you feel about all that? You know, obviously it's creating a sense of paranoia, and we're told in the White House. Your thoughts, whether that's much ado about nothing, or whether it's a fake firestorm?
Well, I can just tell you the effect. All right, the effect of that is it's solidifying the president's base among evangelical social conservative supporters. And here's why. This president is attacked at every turn. The media is marginalizing him. He's drawing opposition. And guess what? The evangelicals who have been under attack for the last 8 years under the policies of Barack Obama and the media and the cultural elite have found a kindred spirit with the president. And so the more he's attacked, the more resolve there is to stand with him. And the same thing is happening, I think, with Brett Kavanaugh, as we saw this hearing play out. And then at the 11th hour, this letter that was set on for 6 weeks is released. It's not getting traction with social conservative evangelicals.
Tony, thank you very much, and for dealing with the crowds and the noise flawlessly. We'll have more after this.